out when I was doing the recording, which is uploading as part 1. So I'm going to just continue and direct you to part 1 of this video, which is for the new moon in Leo recording reading. So just a quick recap for those of you, if you're watching this video first by any chance. So let go of the need to be right, peace and cultivating peace, seer and seeing beyond the vows, seeing beyond this current situation, and also seeing the energy of that which we cannot see, feeling into what is there and trusting in the unknown and energy, or the unknown parts of ourself that we are opening up to follow the instincts, to recreate new neuro pathways, these new stories about ourselves beyond our traumas, and to follow the voice of the soul, star ancestry, whether that's something that resonates or not. It's your soul understanding, connection to every level that is within. And the next card that I pulled that wasn't on the last one is to stand your ground. Stand and be grounded. Be the mountain, be the rock for possibly those around you, but the light workers that I'm speaking to right now, you are becoming, we've kind of been through this process in the last 3 years. A lot of us have already woken or become aware, tuned into our subconscious, and are actively working to free ourselves from old stories, uprooting that which isn't serving us, and actually deeper rooting down, more to the point, and grounding in what is right for us, what it means to truly be at peace and see beyond, and trust within ourselves and our own being and our own physical bodies and our abilities. So I was kind of discussing that before, and that faith in what's right for us, what it is our values are, and how what we're doing, if we're valuing it, does it sit right with what we want, what we believe in. So but also moving beyond beliefs, breaking free of some beliefs that we may have held for a long time and not realize where they come from. And now this is the time to ground those energies in. The mountain itself, as it once was on the floor, pushed up and touching the sky, but still very much grounded and earthly. Not just about the wispy ideas of what we deem heaven or paradise is, but the very earthly, real connection to that here in now, and moving beyond what we feel is right, and letting go of what others feel is right for us. So it's unquestionably stepping into our sovereign power. And I'm going to move through for the next lot. So that's kind of where the light workers have been. I feel that's where those that weren't ready in that time are now coming into. We've got summer, basking in the joy and the light. We've just had Lion's Mane. It's Leo season. That's that courage and honouring and being courageous. Isn't about necessarily fighting an ego. And I know that in its negative aspects can be seen that way, but it's, you think of a lion, it's a beautiful, majestic creature that actually has the sense of like majesty about it. And I'm going to start getting interrupted. It's probably because I've gone live. So having courage to understand yourself, to facing your traumas and your triggers, that's what feels this new moon is about. It's the water and the connecting with our emotions, our emotional self, our emotional body, and what makes us emotional. When we're like highly emotional, like when you've got that rage, that anger come up, that is justifiable, possibly, how do you channel that into something which is more directed and not gonna just burn you, and be more like the bee? You think of a bee and the buzzing and the frequency, the hive, the honey. It's back to being in groups, it's frequency, it's telepathy, it's feeling those emotions on a telepathic nature. We are feeling what's happening, sometimes taking that on board that's coming from the collective. The scales, the fish, and the ocean are very relevant right now as well. And I'm kind of seeing her with her scales, but also the birds and like those kingdoms of the animals. Bees in sense, like we're reminding of like the bees and the pollinating the plants and plant and crops regeneration, and how all of the cycles are connected. Everything in nature is connected, and where we've kind of lost touch with that, we're being brought back into needing to understand that, for it's affecting and impacting us, and kind of almost being forced a little bit by nature to understand that. And we need to learn from this, and the spiritual connection with the earth, the sacred aspect. And I spoke about this on Instagram the other day, that I feel we are being told by Gaia that there's a corruption of the processes. It's not being held as being sacred, and therefore there's a backlash coming from that. And how it's wonderful to see so many groups, like groups of women, people doing like holistic practices. However, there seems not all of them are integral. Some of them, it's more about the money than it is about the process, and that saddens me and triggers me. So, and I was asking for guidance on this, and there was a sense of a reminder of, you know, remember what Abraham said about The Secret. It used her teachings, and then they didn't even put the name that it had come from there, and Esther, and how she felt about that. But it brought to the masses that weren't really going to go deep, that wouldn't have connected to those processes had they not gone through surface level, because they were seeing at a surface skin deep level, is what I was saying in my video. Therefore they're not going to go, they're only going skin deep. And some people only went skin deep, but some went skin deep first and then wanted to penetrate the dermis and go deeper and deeper in an understanding. And I think that's what we're seeing for a while. Like even the religious people, it's been something their family did, they follow the traditions, they don't necessarily feel it, it's not necessarily something that they feel in from their heart and a calling that's in line with their values, but they've done it because they're born into it. But learning from spiritual experience is an experience. You need to experience it, you need to have that calling, and therefore that longing will create that. That's a benefit. And yes, there are lots of things that are not necessarily integral in the way that I would hope, but it's learning to discern which people are, and know from your heart what's right for you. And other people, that surface level might be fine for them, and that's all they need, because that's where they're coming at it from, that perspective. And then they might start this perspective, and the processes itself reach them and touch them and go deeper. So, great teacher, the Christic energy, the Christed energy, the free, the flame of the free, the mother, the father, the child energy. It's the wisdom, the will, energy, frequency, vibration, and shape-shifting, transforming and unveiling our gifts within, moving with those three elements within us, the Trinity flame, moving beyond where we are. So you've got higher perspective, you've got the Kundalini rising, and the wolf. Now, the wolf can be the lone wolf or the wolf pack, that pack mentality that we've been seeing in the 3D realm. So it's that choice, but evolving and shape-shifting into aspects of whatever is needed at the time. And the lion within us for Leo, as we can call in those animal aspects like we do in Qigong, they would look at the energy of the animal and how they cultivated. And when you use the brocades, you do that, you call in the energy, the strength of the bear, so, or the dragon, and the fluidity. So how we can evolve through changing times with the strengths of the energies that are present. So Lionsgate, the lion and the courage, and being courageous with the creativity that comes with it, the understanding of that core, and being in your values. And one more, as I know this is a short video, but obviously before you've got the part one, spring. So seeds of growth. After all, the new moon will be later, and then you've got the void, of course, however you practice with that. Now, I've moved away from working with the moon, although I still, to some degree, utilize planting seeds and intentions within a cycle. I'm working more with the sun and the solar cycles, and I feel more in line with that. So longer processes of time felt more relevant for me. But that doesn't mean that I'm saying that you shouldn't do that, but I do feel there was a manipulation within the integrity of that. So sowing the seeds for that not to be the case. Inner crying does bring up triggers for inner crying when I think about that. A manipulation of the feminine is what I was feeling, that we're moving away from that and setting the intention for that to not be the case anymore, and how we will attract for us, and that's certainly those of you that are viewing this, for that to be coming from a higher integrity, and with this new energy and new projects as they're planted, the old ones to kind of fall away and be discerned by those that are called from the heart, from that heart space. So we're springing forward, thinking of the hair, and how there's a new beginning that's emerging. We refer to it as new earth, but we are the ones planting the seeds in our daily intentions, in the daily dealings with how we are with each other, and how we evolve our cultural and religious beliefs, bringing into new practices in the way that we do them, in that more Aquarian moving forward. So what is it that can help us the most this month? Is there anything else that we need that's not been said? Take time for reflection. So utilize this time to really go within. For my members, their fun work this month was to do that, to look back and assess where they've been and therefore where they want to come and go from here, and mirror what is mirroring back in your life. Looking at your life right now, you might have a list of things you want to let go for the dark moon, for example. So look at that list before you just burn it and dismiss it, and actually see what on that list have you benefited from. Okay, I'm going to use something that you would think, oh no, I'm not sure about that. So a loss, for example, a grief. When I lost my beautiful Egyptian male, one of my cats, He was like my baby. He was my first cat of my own, really. And I was very bonded with him. And his loss, I felt innately like I'd lost part of me. He was like a fraction of my soul. And I realised that the gift in that loss, of that grief and that understanding and that awareness, was seeing him as a reflection of me, knowing how deeply I loved and how much of a blessing it was that I had loved that deeply, that I'd had that bond. And grief is a funny one because I think in some ways it's easier because we are enjoying the flow when that being, that soul is there, and then when it's gone we realize and feel the loss because we've stopped flowing it, because that point is no longer there to be flowed to, for us to then feel it as we're flowing, but we never stop the connection. And it's that understanding that a transference of energy is still there. And obviously with the experience I had when he was there, I could hear, almost reminded me of the Zara books, when Zara and Solomon have got their moment, and he's like, but I'm here, Zara, I'm here. And I could feel the same thing, could hear him going, but I'm here, energetically I'm here, why are you crying? Like, I'm not gone anywhere, it's just my body. And knowing that connection and feeling that connection for me was reinforcing what I'd already sort of sensed and been through with my mum. So with those two losses, that we are definitely internal, but that experience was what translated in my gift for that thing. So when I was releasing the tears, releasing and letting go, I wasn't letting go of the person or letting go, I was letting go of the sadness and the emotion, and holding that containment of that emotion. But at the same time, seeing how much of a gift of understanding of the connection beyond death that we have, and how that mirrored back, how that love was mirrored back, unconditional love, especially with pets, and seeing from another perspective and another connection with energy, that maybe isn't there for everyone. I get that, but to me that was the gift, that was the blessing, that was the growth that maybe wouldn't have happened had that not been the case, because I wouldn't have had that deep rooted connection that went beyond death, that transcends death. So that was the experience, the learning of the spiritual experience and understanding that can only be learnt through experienced. You can take my word for it and believe me or not, but when you go through it yourself, that's the gift, that's the transcendence, that's the embodiment of what we have learned in those challenges, whatever they may be, grief being the example there. So I'm going to leave you at that, because otherwise that makes this probably nearly an hour, with the 20 minutes here for part 2. And blessings for your new moon. What seeds you want to see growing. Think about the ones you've grown. Be thankful for where you've been before you go to where you want to go. Be rooted and grounded in where you've been. So love and blessings for your now moment, and happy new moon in Leo. And I mean, there's loads that I could talk about with the Lion's Gate, and I have done. I will direct you, if you haven't seen it already, Meditation Monday this week is a 40-minute container to connect with the sacred sexuality and the energy of the love and the spirit, and how we're cultivating that within us, and how I'm learning to master that through myself, but connecting with the essence of what we think of as the twin flame energy, Mary Magdalene, Isis, Hathor, all of the goddess beauty and essence of sensuality, but of true self-love and understanding of what that means. So go check that out if that appeals to you. It's on this channel. I think there's a link if you follow my Instagram. I put a link on the post because it's unlisted. So that will be up for, I'll leave it up for the remainder of this month, and then it'll go into the Patreon. It'll be there in the Patreon members access. But blessings for your day. Have a beautiful one.